My name is David Benarroch. I'm an Israeli Spanish artist. I moved to Spain a year and a half ago. Actually, my family came. I come from a Spanish family. My father born like Sephardic family. My father born in Tangier, while it was an international city. My mother born in Arcila, while it was under the Spanish protectorate of Morocco. And in my house, they speak Spanish as a mother tongue, but they didn't speak with me and with my brothers in Spanish. So this is some kind of things that I have like inside of my my identity also, because I hear Spanish in my house. It also is something that can be very natural, because all the works that I do it as a practice, and it means that I'm making some things like without the idea in putting them in some place. So I did most of the work I did for many many reasons, not only in the hotel context. Maybe maybe except of the weight, but for me it was a challenge, like to see my sculptures in relationship to other objects, because painting is framed, for example, and when it's framed, it outside of the context, and when the sculpture like lay on the bed or on the desk and so on, so they have also the contextual of the object itself. So it's a something, and also like my sculpture. I'm more used to see them in a gallery space or in the museum space when they have their own voice. And here you can see the relationship between the things, and yeah, I'm also curious to see that relationship and how it goes. I work mainly in sculpture. The sculpture that I make reflects my interest in process, in material experimentation, in body, gravity, and more physical aspects of material. Improvisation and playfulness is also an important part of my work. I used to make my work in order to explore the gravity and the stabilization of material and the sculpture. As a result, I'm curious about the power that I impose and the nature of the material. It can range from I have a lot of inspiration, and it can range from something very basic, like to walk on the streets and to see how the grass grown from the sidewalk. It can be like to walk in some road and to see how a puddle of mud changed the road itself to somewhere else. I think that every mark that we see outside that change something, it's something that relevant to me as an inspiration, and in some way, I like to see the victory of the material on the human plan. Also, like inspiration can be something that that maybe you have an experience of it. Like for example, a few years ago, I went to artist residency in Joshua Tree, California. It's a residency of artist Andrea Zito. And there we were like a group of students that basically lived in the desert of Joshua Tree. And we lived inside the work of the artist of Andrea Zito. She make like pods that you that you live inside, like small parts that in a human body scale, and you have everything that you need to live there. And I remember that that someday, like in the night, we sleep there also, and I was asleep, and suddenly, during the night, I heard like pam 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 in the pod, and I was so scared, like my heart was in my pants, like I completely am going to die. So I opened the door of it. It's like this, and I saw some friend of mine, and she told me, David, I'm scared. We are alone. We are alone in the desert, and I started to talk to her and relax her. And in that moment, like that, I lived in the desert inside an artwork of some artist, great artist, and the sound of the metal, and open the door, and then to see her and to talk with her, that was for me all that sequence like an inspiration, also in a sense of approach, like of things. I have many influences. It can range from music, for example, like I like the music of Nina Simone and Outkast, and generally hip hop, and it can be literature, like I like to read Cesar Aira, and like his literature is have a lot of sense of playfulness, and it's something that I keep in my mind. It can be from a conversation, like I remember that I was a student at the Beaux-Arts Academy of Art in Tel Aviv. So during my MFA, we have a visit of the curator Yasmil Raymond from the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and she were in one of my during my final show, but she also visited my first year exhibition. And I remember that we had a very good conversation, and in one point in that conversation, she talked about one of my work, one of my small work, like floor piece, like she pointed it, and she started to speak about it, and also about the process, and also she had like references, and it was a moment that I remember as a conversation that after years I can say that it influenced me. It can be also a meeting, like an artistic meeting. Well, when I came here, I didn't knew people in Spain, and I met artist Jonathan Hammer, he is the director of Villa Bergerie. It's an artist residency that I also I participated in Aragon, and his personality, his generosity, and his artistic influence were very. It's influenced me, and also and also in a sense of the biography, like his biography. It's something that I feel connected to, and a part of all of this, it can be like like in art I have many influences. Of course, I'm not extend about every influence, but if to say some for that conversation, maybe I will mention artists that process is a main core of their work. So I will mention Eva Hesse, that she is an important artist to me, that also in the sense of she was a pioneer in her time, and her work with latex and rubber, and also the intimacy in her work. It's something that I'm very influenced by. Also, after I read her diaries, I were extremely in love with her personality, because it's not something that is very common to get inside the personality, and also her story, like she a Jewish immigrant she was a Jewish immigrant from Germany to Netherlands to New York, and to take all that roots, it was very influenced me. Also, the art of Richard Tuttle, American artist, I'm influenced by. I like, or I'm influenced by his work with daily materials like paper and cardboard and string, and you can see how you can get to a very high poetics with something very simple, and that moment, it's like one kind of the moments that I remember. I born and raised in Israel, so I lived inside the Jewish culture. So for me, the Jewish is something like invisible, and I think when I moved to live, I lived in several places and outside of Israel, and I think it was the time that I feel like what is to be a Jewish, or it's like a lot of aspects, yeah, immigrant, Jewish, and a lot of links and roots, but since in Israel it's something that it's like obvious, it's almost goes without saying. So maybe to be outside and to be in a different context, it's changed, and it's also something that you can feel. I think also it connects me to the traditional things of Jewish, because traditionally Jewish was not the landlord in the place they lived, and like I came from a different context, and to me it's something like they were not owners, and this is what I also feel, that some weight maybe is going from other way to another way, and when I'm outside, I maybe feel like more the humbleness of this, maybe like more modest in a modest way, and I think it's also something that reflects in my art, like that kind of sense. I think that if we are here, maybe you can see some we have good example here, like the peanuts that you see here, that I'm now dealing with peanuts. It's something that it can be formal, like with the context of peanuts, yeah. It's something with a shell. It's grows on the ground. It is American, maybe, but for me, it's also something that people throw to me at the bar mitzvah. You know, so if someone come and see it, well, he will not know. Like it depends. Like it depends the audience and what layer you take from the work. And it's something that I also like to decode, like inside the world, that you can see it, maybe in that context, maybe not, and it's like layers. I'm David Benarroch. I want to thank Centro Sefarad and send my greetings to all the audience.